Live from Studio B at the Appraiser eLearning World Headquarters here in Nashville, Tennessee. This is your weekly briefing. I'm Hal Humphreys, your host. This week, change, desktop appraisals, and trainee tips. Let's talk a little bit about change. If you think change doesn't happen, just look in the mirror. I mean, this used to be nice and brown. Jim, did you ever have any different facial features going on there?
Well, the hair was brown.
The hair was brown.
Hal.
Change happens, okay? It just does. And sometimes you do have to, as the inimitable David Bowie says, turn and face the strange. Does anybody remember, do you remember this image? Do you remember these things?
Oh, I do. I had to stop at the 1 hour photo every afternoon.
Anyone that was in the appraisal business 20, 30 years ago knows exactly what this is. You'd have to run over there with your film rolls and get them developed and come back, and you had this tape machine, double-sided tape machine, to put them on. I had a boss one time told me, he said, oh, digital photos will never work for appraisals because they're too easy to change and commit fraud. Well, he was wrong. Things change. I had a guy tell me a couple of weeks ago, Jim, he said, I will never use a laser measure. They're just they're not accurate. My tape measure is so much more accurate. Jim, when you take a tape measure and you use the same one for 30 years and you stretch it across the front of a house, what happens to it?
Yeah, it's going to stretch a little bit, Hal.
It's going to stretch a little bit, and
Yeah.
that ANSI tag on that won't be accurate anymore because that inch is going to be just a little bit longer than an actual inch. So everybody that I know in the appraisal business has a Disto of some variety, some kind of a laser measure. If it's not a Disto, I know some people get upset about, you're advertising for Disto. I'm not. But everybody I know uses a laser measure. Along those lines of change, there are some changes coming down the pike that a lot of appraisers are getting upset about. And that's the reason I have Jim here with me today, because Jim is an instructor with us here at Appraiser eLearning, and he's working on a course about desktop appraisals. Jim, tell us about desktop appraisals.
Yeah, Hal, it's it's the latest part of the GSE's appraisal modernization, and so they've implemented desktop and hybrid appraisals. There are appraisers who have concerns. There are also appraisers that have some fears around this. And so what we're doing is we've made a how-to guide. We take a deep dive in the technology so appraisers are comfortable. They understand how these products work, how reliable they are. We go through the scope of work for the desktop and the hybrid. Of course, we touch on compliance. And so we're really trying to present all the information so appraisers can make an informed decision whether they want to participate in this opportunity or not.
And at the end of the day, it is an opportunity. Here's the thing. If it doesn't fit into your business model to do desktop appraisals, you don't have to do them. If it doesn't fit into your business model to do work for AMCs, you don't have to work for AMCs. But as a business owner, we're here to make money. That's why we do this work, is to pay our bills and have a lifestyle and feed our family, do those things. So if you can get your head around desktop appraisals as a model for earning income, for creating cash flow, and I think Jim's class can help you do that. Now, Jim, are you going to be at the summit coming up?
I will, Hal. I'll be at the summit. I'm excited to say I'm going to talk on this very topic. I'm going to talk about desktops and hybrid appraisals, and I'm sure hoping that a lot of these trainees will be there.
You know, talking about trainees, there's this thing in the trainee world. We have tried to encourage trainees to do some things to set themselves apart. And one of the things that I think is really important for trainees to set themselves apart is to kind of get their head around the standard things that appraisers do and use. Units of comparison. I know everybody talks about dollars per square foot and stuff like that, but in your market, maybe it's a little different. Maybe it's dollars per bathroom. Maybe it's dollars per bedroom. In some communities, they measure site value on price per front foot as opposed to price per square foot. At the end of the day, if you know your standards, you will set yourself apart as a little bit above the rest of the trainees that don't. Here's the thing. This image of the tomatoes on the scale. We all know that 1 pound is 16 ounces. We all know that 1 mile is 5,280 feet. We also know, and this is one that you appraiser trainees can take to parties and just slay people with. They're going to love you for knowing this. It's like, it's one of those little nuggets of information. An acre has 43,560 square feet. This is a thing that I had drilled in my head as a young man. And when I say young man, like 13, 14 years old. My dad was an appraiser. I think your dad was an appraiser.
My dad was an appraiser. So
How
was
long
my
have you
brother.
known that an acre had 43,560 square feet?
Yeah, probably 35 or 40 years.
So know the standards. The standards are important. If you don't know the standards, you're just not quite there. If you learn the standards as a trainee, if you learn the things that everybody kind of in the business knows, you're going to set yourself apart as a trainee. Here's the thing. We're really excited to have the trainees come to the summit this year. It's coming up. Let's see, September 24th through 27 in Las Vegas at Planet Hollywood. I am going to be there. The entire team from Appraiser eLearning is going to be there. Jim's going to be there. Find us. Introduce yourself to us. We would love to meet you. The Appraisal Summit is hosted by Appraiser eLearning and the National Association of Appraisers. It is a fantastic place for trainees to have the opportunity to learn in trainee-specific events, but also to get to network with working appraisers, meet people from around the country, maybe even meet that mentor you've been looking for so long. Coming up this week, tomorrow, I'll be teaching Critique Anatomy Review. That's Tuesday, August 30th. Tomorrow, there's still time to sign up for that. Go to appraisereLearning.com. On Friday, Brian Reynolds will be teaching the Appraiser's Guide to the Income Approach. If you have fear in your heart about doing the math on an income approach, rest easy. Join Brian Reynolds on Friday. He does a great job of explaining some pretty complicated math in a way that you can understand it and get your head around it. The Appraiser's Guide to the Income Approach on Friday. Both of these are live virtual courses in a Zoom platform. Again, click over to Appraiser eLearning and sign up now. Don't forget the summit, Las Vegas, Planet Hollywood, hosted by your team here at Appraiser eLearning and the fine folks of the National Association of Appraisers next month, September 24th to 27. Join us, find me, find Jim, introduce yourself, trainees. We look very much forward to seeing you there. That's your weekly briefing from Appraiser eLearning. I'm Hal Humphreys, and this is
Jim Baumberger. See you at the summit.
now a brief shout out to our sponsors.